but I want to talk about migration now. And Kevin Saunders is joining us. He's the former Border Force Chief Immigration Officer. Kevin, thank you for joining me this morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. Very well, thank you.
I was reading, as I'm sure you were as well, about the Belgian approach to migration, which is really interesting, actually. And it seems that Belgium has a crackdown. It cut the number of migrants heading to Britain to fewer than 1,000, which still sounds like a lot, but in the scheme of things is a lot lower than it would have been. We are giving France something like 480 million quid to try to stop this. They're stopping, they say, nearly half, 46% of people who try to take a voyage across the Channel. But clearly the Belgians are doing it better, Kevin.
The Belgians are doing a very good job. We give the Belgians only 10 million a year. So
bargain.
For that, it's a very good return. But you see, the thing is, it's all politics. In Belgium, you have a government that are more right wing, and they are absolutely saying we are not having illegal migrants in Belgium, full stop, end of argument. And they are taking a very, very robust line. They arrest them. If they catch them trying to leave the beaches, they will arrest everybody on the boat. So that sends a message. They won't allow migrant camps to be set up. One tent appears, the police are out to take it down. The Belgians have said, you get one, you get 30. Which they have seen down the road in Dunkirk. So the Belgians are being very robust, and the French aren't.
So why can't the French learn the lessons of this, and how can we persuade them, do you think, Kevin? Because we're giving them a heck of a lot of money, and they really aren't doing very much for it. They're saying that they have stopped about 45% of these people coming across, but clearly the Belgians are doing a much better job for much less of an outlay.
Right, well, it's politics. In Belgium, you have, in the area that borders France, you have a right-wing government.
So do the French just not want to do this? Is this is ideological, do you think? Despite
yes,
we can give them as much money as we need to, but really they ideologically think that people should be allowed to come across the Channel and come to the UK.
Well, I don't know whether they actually believe they should, but it's a left-wing government in Dunkirk. So you have the different political sides there.
I wonder what you make of what Jonathan Gullis has said, the Conservative MP, because he's talking about the 45.2% of migrants who've been stopped by French patrols since January. He says that, Mr. Gullis says the government must make clear that we will demand a certain level of payment back if the situation in the Channel does not improve from the French perspective. What do you make of that? Do you think that's in any way possible?
No. And the French will say, well, it has improved because they're now stopping almost 50% of boats. So the French will say it has improved. If you stop funding us, then you'll get that 50% coming over as well as the 50% you've already got. So you'll get 100% coming over.
Yeah.
So, and also from the French point of view, they've got a coastline of about 100 miles they have to police.
It's interesting. I mean, so it's really interesting, actually, in a lot of this policy, because the Prime Minister has quite simply a three-word phrase: stop the boats. He says that he will be judged in January by this. We've had a summer where so many thousands, tens of thousands of people have come across the Channel. Is there any improvement? Is anything working about the government's small boats policy, do you think, Kevin? Is there any chink of light in any of this?
Well, we've reduced the numbers coming across, only marginally, but we have. This week is going to be absolutely horrendous because the weather is going to be nice and the people at Dover are already on red alert because they expect thousands this week because the Channel is calm. So it's going to be a problem. But you see, the real problem is that the Europeans will not agree to even talk about taking people back. So the idea that that you can have a returns agreement with Europe is now totally and completely dead.
I mean, let me mention a word that is perhaps the elephant in the room here. Is Brexit part of this? Are they simply saying you left, therefore we're not going to engage with you, we're not going to help you?
Well, they were never very helpful when we were in the EU anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's the whole story. No, they would never take people back anyway when we were in because they said they're undocumented, therefore we can't take them back.
Yeah,
and that was the bottom line. But now they won't even talk about talks. So anybody that says we can solve the small boats by having a returns agreement with France or Europe is talking out of their hat.
Yeah,
because that's it. They've said they won't. So the only thing we can do now is perhaps think about removing people to North Africa. Now, the Europeans are already paying vast amounts of money to Libya, Tunisia, Algeria to stop the migrants. So I think we need to think about actually saying to them, well, look, instead of paying the French 480 million, we'll pay it to you and you take all the migrants back.